Thanks for that energetic intro. I'm here to show you the cool things I've done as a passionate climber and a certified mountain guide. I hope to inspire you to live your passion and perhaps hire me for your next mountain adventure. First of all, by a show of hands, who's here ever heard of a mountain guide before? Well, I hadn't when I was growing up, and when I asked my dad, oh, I think I want to be a mountain guide, he said, well, you better learn to hunt and fish, because that's what you do when you're from the prairies in Saskatchewan. To help you learn what a mountain guide's about, I have a couple jokes. First off, what's the difference between a mountain guide and God? Well, God doesn't think he's a mountain guide. And second of all, what's the difference between a mountain guide and a mutual fund? Well, a mutual fund will eventually mature and make money. Becoming a guide in Canada takes an average of 6 years after you have about 5 or 10 years of climbing and skiing experience. We take practical exams and guide our examiners rock climbing, ice climbing, alpine climbing, and backcountry skiing. This certification allows you to be broke, travel, and impress a few people. It's allowed me to travel the world and follow my passion, addiction, religion of climbing, alpine rock, and ice. I started at the University of Calgary in the Outdoor Pursuits program. That's where I first met my mentors and climbing partners that have inspired me and supported me to be where I am today. I did that about 20 years ago. I've learned that the people I share a rope with are the people that not only help me physically to survive, but inspire me spiritually and emotionally. An example of this is in 2006 when Catherine Fraser and I went to the Kachatnas in Alaska. We flew in and we were dropped off by a ski plane an hour's flight away from any human beings and rescue. It was the most mentally challenging trip I've ever done. When we went up on our first attempt, we came across a lot of really granular rock, hard to protect, hollow, and we quit. We came back down and we had to reevaluate. We went back up on our second attempt, and between the competition between us and a desire to prove ourselves to our community, we made it up to 60 meters within the summit, where fear and exhaustion had us turn around. And then our teamwork and cooperation made us safely rappel down in an oncoming storm. And we got back to camp 30-some hours after we started. Then we had to sit in camp for 8 days while we waited for the weather to be good enough for a flight to get picked up and get out of there. And gratefully, 6 years later, we're still friends. So later that year, with a partner named Leela Molnar, I won the John Laughlin Award to go to Pakistan and put up a new route on the Ladyfinger. To train for this, we went to Yosemite and learned big wall techniques such as hauling, aid climbing, and sleeping in a portaledge like you see in that photo. When we got to Pakistan, it was late in the season and we realized we only had a few days to climb our objectives, so we had to change it. And we went to a valley further south where our guide Imran was from, to a shorter objective. And through that journey, we met his family and community, and I was so inspired by the people in these small villages. We were able to climb a new route on this mountain just in the nick of time. When we got to the last pitch, it started snowing. On our descent, it was snowing, and in the morning, it was winter in the Karakoram. During this time, we learned that we failed our last guide exam, and that was heartbreaking, and we realized that through the small success of our climb and the people we met, it seemed to ease that disappointment. A few years later, after passing that guides exam and being full mountain guides, we went to my favorite climbing zone in eastern BC called the Bugaboos to climb the North Hauser Spire, a route called All Along the Watchtower. It's very committing. You rappel into it, and if you don't complete the route, you have a really long journey around, which I found all about. Environment Canada disappointed us by not forecasting the intense thunderstorm that we experienced for the next almost 10 to 12 hours. So we had to rappel the route in this torrential rain. It was a little bit like having a river between you, and then we hiked over boulders, glaciers, steep slopes, under thunder, lightning, and hail, and got back to camp after 20-some hours. Later that summer, a month later, we had another opportunity to climb the mountain, and to our own surprise, we chose to. And we had great weather. Doesn't make a very good story, but we summited. And what I learned about that is there's a lot of luck in climbing, but also a lot of judgment and skill and having to back off when things don't go the way you expect. In my life, I feel like I've had a lot of different failures and losses through relationships, guides exams, careers, and I lost my father 5 years ago. Despite this loss, I still choose to risk, and this quote sums it up for me by Leo Buscaglia. To love is to risk not being loved in return. To hope is to risk pain. To try is to risk failure. But risk must be taken because the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. I'm turning 40 in a couple weeks, and I've been feeling devastated about not having a husband, kids, or a pension plan. But I found this quote on Facebook that says, "Everyone I know is getting married or pregnant. I'm just getting more awesome." I'm fortunate to have guided all over the world, like the Matterhorn, help people meet their dreams. I got my mom backcountry skiing to the top of a mountain last year. So I feel really grateful for my life this far. This year I'm planning to go guide in Patagonia, Norway, Scotland, Alaska. So I have a great life. And what climbing for me is more than a sport or a place to get adrenaline, more than just about summiting or climbing a certain grade. It's a lifestyle for me. It's all about the journey, the people I meet. There's a meditative flow in the problem solving and the connection with the mountains and the wild environment. So I thank you guys for being here and supporting this event. I thank my family and friends and my sponsors, Blur, La Sportiva, Petzl, and the Alpine Club of Canada. Thanks.